In this video I'm going to show you how to turn this into this. Before you do any power modifications, it's a good idea to know how much power you're making. And to find out what I'm making, I've come to Tune Technic. The first thing we need to do is get it set up on the dyno. It's really low, so it's always a struggle getting it up on ramps and hoists. The setup on this day was a K&N panel air filter, stock IS-F headers, X-Force catback exhaust with muffler delete. The engine is old, it's done over 200,000 Ks, so it's no surprise it's only putting out 230 kilowatts at the wheels. Our stock engine should be closer to 260. I'm not too worried as this is just a base power number and leaves me lots of room to improve. Next stop, Streetwise Auto, West Auckland. We will be installing PPE unequal length catless race headers and Figs engine mounts. This will be the first time Mikey Mechanic has installed headers on an IS-F, but luckily, PPE sends detailed step-by-step instructions along with the headers, making it a pretty straightforward job. With the subframe out, we have access to the stock and seriously worn out engine mounts. I mean, look at this. This is okay. This is terrible. We now have access to remove the first header and actually see the reason why we're replacing them.
That's it. That's the broken one. See how this snapped off?
Oh, right, yeah.
That's the one that every single IS-F will break. That one there.
There you go. Fuck, that looks shit for a V8, eh?
I know, it is, eh?
How skinny it gets.
It's just the flange that snaps off.
Terrible.
Mikey makes quick work of removing the other side and we can compare new versus old. It's easy to see where the power comes from when you change headers on a naturally aspirated car. Next we had to remove the original O2 sensors, but they were putting up enough of a fight to justify getting a new pair from up the road. With the exhaust flange cleaned up and all the supporting hardware including gaskets and a full set of new exhaust flange nuts laid out, we are ready to install the new headers. With the new engine mounts bolted onto the factory brackets, they can go in next. And then the subframe is reinstalled. Steering rack and suspension parts are put back together. Supplied gaskets are installed along with the rest of the exhaust system. And of course, while you're at the mechanics, it's always a good idea to change your oil. The plastics are put back together and the header installation is done. It's time to get it tuned and remove the check engine light from popping up due to O2 sensor error. So we are back at Tune Technic to have the ECU flashed. David loads up the base power run and begins to flash the ECU. It's not long before we run into a problem. The ECU has write protection and can only be flashed over OBD if we have the original ECU version. The only option is to remove the ECU from the engine bay, carefully open it up, add some breakout terminals, then read directly from the ECU, make the modifications to it and re-flash it back in. Then repeat the same process in reverse and now install the modified and tuned ECU. David does a few final checks, then it's time to do a power run and see the results. A massive 261 kilowatts at the wheels. That's an increase of 31 kilowatts. However, the journey for more power doesn't end here. The ECU has a value called knock correction and it's set really low when the ECU is reset. In order to see the true power of the tune, I need to drive it around for about a week and allow the knock correction value to increase. There are a few shortcuts to making it increase, such as cruising at 80 in 8th gear, then planting your foot flat until you hit 110. A week later, we're down at Torque Performance for a dyno day, and I was keen to see how much more power it was making since driving it around. It puts down 298 kilowatts of the wheels. That's a huge increase over the 260 a week ago. I love the way the car feels after adding headers and a tune, and it sounds amazing. Thanks for watching. Please become a patron and support German media. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and join my Discord channel. And if you have a Lexus IS-F and don't have an oil catch can, I have a DIY kit with F engraving available in multiple colors on my website. Finally, check out my New Zealand car scene year in review video. Links are in description.